This is a presentation on Mimikatz. Mimikatz is an open source post-exploitation tool, which means, and as Microsoft said in 2011 in a response to the developer of Mimikatz, for this tool to be deployed, it requires that a system already be compromised. However, if a piece of malware could run with administrative privileges, it could scoop up credentials and use them to access other computers on a network. An attacker could then run the same program and continue stealing passwords, and so on. This is the basis of Mimikatz. It is used to steal credentials of a compromised computer and uses those credentials to further exploit a network. It is used by both penetration testers and attackers. Mimikatz has been used in a number of high-profile attacks, including NotPetya and DigiNotar. Mimikatz was developed by Benjamin Delpy, and he still maintains the tool. There is an active GitHub where the program can be downloaded. This was originally a side project for him to learn more about Windows security and to build skills with the C programming language. He also believed that Windows had a serious security flaw with its handling of passwords and wanted to show Microsoft so. Importantly, Mimikatz is French slang for cute, so Mimikatz means cute cats. Mimikatz exploits a Windows function called wdigest, which makes it more convenient for corporate and government Windows users to prove their identity to different applications on their network or on the web. wdigest holds authentication credentials in memory and automatically reuses them so that they only have to be entered once. It keeps the copy of the user's password encrypted, but also stores a copy of the secret key to decrypt in memory.
The memory location where these are stored is called LSAS. Shown here is the task manager in Windows, where LSAS can be seen by any user. If a user right-clicks on this program, they have an option to create a data dump file. Before Windows 10, by default, wdigest would create a data dump file from the LSAS memory when wdigest crashes. Mimikatz exploits this by crashing wdigest intentionally to ensure that an LSAS data dump file with the latest passwords is available. Shown here are the contents of an LSAS data dump file opened with the text editor from my own personal computer.
Mimikatz provides many ways to steal credentials. We don't have time to discuss each of these in detail, so we'll focus on two in particular: pass the hash and pass the ticket. Pass the hash allows an attacker to authenticate to a remote server or service by using the NTLM hash of a user's password instead of requiring the associated plain text password. This method bypasses standard authentication steps that require a plain text password, moving directly into the portion of the authentication that uses the password hash. NTLM stands for NT-LAN Manager and is a challenge response authentication protocol. The target computer or domain controller challenge and check the password and store the password hashes for continued use. Pass the ticket is a method of authenticating to a system using Kerberos tickets without having access to an account's password. Kerberos is a MIT computer network authentication protocol. It uses symmetric key cryptography that requires trusted third-party authorization to verify user identities and is currently the default authorization technology used by Microsoft Windows. Implementations of Kerberos exist in Apple OS, Unix, and Linux. In this technique, valid Kerberos tickets for valid accounts are captured by credential dumping. A user's service ticket, or ticket granting ticket, may be obtained depending on the level of access. A service ticket allows for access to a particular resource, whereas a ticket granting ticket can be used to request service tickets from the ticket granting service to access any resource the user has privileges to access.
Let's go through a demonstration of Mimikatz. Mimikatz is a script kiddie's ideal tool. It takes little to no technical knowledge to run. Although the source code is available on GitHub, downloadable, totally runnable versions of the application are also available for download from GitHub. An attacker could either download these straight to a computer they are on, or carry them around on a USB drive. A more technical user could get the application to run with specific commands inside a phishing link. Here we see the opening of the Mimikatz application. A user will enter commands in a similar manner to the commands we run in terminal. Mimikatz only has a few commands available. Here we see two. The first is a check to make sure the debug feature of wdigest is enabled and the user has account administrator privileges. Success. In this example, both those are true. The second step, the user inputs a command requesting the passwords to be shown. Here we can see the passwords taken from the LSAS data dump, as well as the NT-LAN manager hash. Under the hood, Mimikatz has crashed wdigest and has scanned the LSAS data dump file. Mimikatz includes a few other commands that make the pass the hash or the pass the ticket attacks even more accessible. Here is some of the code taken directly off GitHub. This is the main function. It has a simple while loop to keep the program running and listening for user commands until the user inputs an exit command. As Derek mentioned, Benjamin Delpy stated he made Mimikatz as a way to learn the C language. Here we can see some of the offset tables used by Mimikatz depending on the version of Windows. You can see that there are even tables for Windows 10. wdigest can still be found on newer Windows operating systems. Although Windows has changed the default setting so that wdigest is disabled and the debug feature is set to off, if an account administrator were to change these settings, possibly in an effort to speed up the login process to a remote network, they would become susceptible to a Mimikatz attack. It's important the account admin understands these risks before changing these settings for either themselves or others with account admin privileges.
Defending against a post-exploitation tool is difficult, since an attacker must have root access on a Windows computer to use Mimikatz. Limiting administrative privileges to those who need them reduces the risk of an attacker obtaining administrative credentials. Also, making sure that every Windows computer has a unique administrative password can help prevent lateral movement across a network. Windows 10 has employed a technology called Credential Guard, which essentially puts the credential memory store inside a very small virtual machine. This virtual machine uses technology from Intel and AMD processors so that not even code that is running with administrative privileges is able to access it. Mimikatz uses built-in Windows debugging tools to dump memory, so turning off debug privileges can slow attackers down.